Okay, let's dive right into this. If you've been tuning into the whole conversation around artificial intelligence lately, you've probably heard a lot of anxiety, a bunch of wild predictions, and honestly, just a ton of noise about the future of work. But today, we are going to completely rethink our relationship with AI. We're pulling some absolutely fascinating insights from a recent presentation by organizational expert Vinciane Beauchene, and we're going to use them to build a clear, actionable blueprint for what comes next. So, welcome to the Explainer. Let's look at how we shift our focus from just protecting jobs to actually protecting human potential. To figure out where we're going, we kind of need to understand how we've always measured machine intelligence. Back in the 1950s, Alan Turing gave us this famous premise, right? Basically, if you couldn't tell whether you were talking to a machine or a human, the machine was intelligent. It was all about conversation. And today, most chatbots can pass that Turing test without breaking a sweat. But here is the catch, and it completely shatters that whole 1950s paradigm. Talking isn't what's going to change the world. Doing is. We've officially entered an era where AI isn't just chatting with us anymore, it's actively taking action. And because AI is now a doer, it forces us to ask a totally new set of questions. I want you to really think about this for a second. If an AI could take over all of your team's tasks right now, who would you keep and why? Seriously, ponder that. Because this isn't just some fun philosophical thought experiment. This is the exact strategic provocation that leaders absolutely need to ask themselves today. Reshaping an organization means finding that perfect mix of strategy, tech, and talent. In answering this specific question, that is how we make sure human talent doesn't just fall out of the equation. All right, moving into our first big shift, the rise of agents and the AI deadline. So this shift from talking to doing, it's being driven by a very specific technological leap. And this was actually the inciting incident that cracked everything open for a major consumer goods company that was trying to rethink their entire selling process. The trigger was a new category of tech called AI agents. You can think of agents as basically the James Bond of AI. We are way, way past simple chatbots or basic co-pilots that just, help you type faster. Agents are fully autonomous systems. They can connect across platforms, plan, take action, learn, and adapt. Literally with zero human intervention. So going back to that consumer goods client, they applied this to their sales process and built a fully autonomous sales engine. An agent that could target a customer, make a recommendation, negotiate, and close the deal. All by itself. No humans required. Now, while having a fully autonomous sales engine was technically possible, it literally terrified the executives. They looked at it and asked, okay, well, if the machine does all the selling, what on earth is left for the humans? Well, when they actually looked at their most loyal customers, they had this massive realization. People weren't sticking around just for the products or the prices. They were staying because of how the human sales reps made them feel. So they flipped the entire model. The old human role of just pushing products, handed over to the AI. The new human role became hyper-focused on building relationships, creating a sense of belonging, and driving loyalty. Human value didn't disappear at all. It just moved to where it actually mattered. Now, what's really interesting about this next part, these 3 dangerous AI myths, is how we use them to hold ourselves back. Because despite all these incredible success stories, a lot of us are still stuck in this head-in-the-sand ideology. We use these comforting little lies as psychological defense mechanisms. Number 1, we tell ourselves it's overblown and we'll adapt organically. Number 2, soft skills are our sweet spot. And number 3, we just need to protect our jobs. Let's break these down, starting with that first idea, that we can just take our time and slowly adapt, kind of like we did with the Industrial Revolution. Yeah, that assumption is deeply flawed. Today, only 13% of companies have actually embedded AI agents into their workflows. Now, you might see that low number and think, oh, sweet, I've got plenty of time. But you really don't, because while tech moves exponentially, humans crawl linearly. We are slow. Previous generations got to adapt over decades, but in this revolution, time is of the essence. If you're not preparing for this right now, you are absolutely going to struggle to catch up. And honestly, part of the reason we delay is because we get distracted by the wrong acronyms. We spend hours debating AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. You know, that sci-fi moment when AI wakes up, becomes smarter than us, and achieves consciousness? But AGI is totally speculative. What we actually need to focus on is ACI, Artificial Capable Intelligence. ACI isn't some late-night dorm room debate. It is a strict, impending deadline. It is the very real moment when an AI can take on highly complex, ambiguous goals with basically no human oversight. And ACI is actively changing how work gets done today. Okay, let's bust that second myth. The really comforting belief that our soft skills, things like empathy, are uniquely ours. The evidence is actually pointing the other way entirely. More and more, research shows that people often prefer interacting with an AI because they find it more empathetic. I mean, think about it. An AI doesn't get tired, it doesn't get cranky at the end of a long shift, and it never ever judges you. So our supposed human moat that we thought protected us, it's shrinking fast. There isn't some universal magical list of untouchable human qualities anymore. Every single company has to figure out exactly where their humans uniquely add value. And that brings us straight to the third myth, this overwhelming urge we have to just protect jobs. Right now, a staggering 41% of employees firmly believe their job is going to completely vanish in the next decade because of AI. That is a ton of fear. And when people are scared, their natural instinct is to build walls and protect the status quo. But trying to protect static jobs in the age of AI is literally like dropping an anchor in a violent storm. The anchor doesn't save the boat, it just pulls the whole thing under. The distinction between jobs and human potential is basically everything here. Jobs are fixed. They rely on static org charts, really narrow career paths, and rigid boundaries. That entire system is going to completely fall apart as the boundaries of what a job even is start melting away. On the other hand, human potential is absolutely not fixed. We are capable of limitless growth and adaptation. We've got to stop wasting our energy trying to protect the fixed, melting jobs of the past and start aggressively investing in our capacity to adapt and grow. So let's move from theory into action and look at building the ideal company. How did the boldest organizations actually navigate this paradigm shift? They use a concrete blueprint with 3 main steps. Step 1, start with strategy, not technology. You have to undergo this radical AI-first reinvention to figure out exactly what outcomes differentiate you and where people truly matter most. Step 2 is reinventing your entire workforce model based on that new strategy. And step 3, making a massive public commitment to your talent. Let's see what steps 2 and 3 actually look like in the real world. For step 2, reinventing the workforce, let's look at this amazing example from the source material. An industrial goods client needed to reformulate their entire product portfolio. So they ran dozens of these grueling Hack a Future workshops just to see where AI wins and where humans matter. And the result? They totally reinvented their researchers' roles. They went from hiring solo expert chemists to developing these highly collaborative, data-driven biologists who act as multifunctional teammates. There was no guesswork here. It was precise skills mapping and incredibly intentional upskilling. Which leads us to the crucial step 3, actually committing to that talent. Now you might be wondering, why on earth would I invest so heavily in upskilling my people if an AI can just do the technical tasks faster and cheaper? Well, the answer is right here. The day that interacting with a flawless AI becomes the standard, boring norm, just a commodity, is the exact day that human interaction skyrockets in value. It becomes a premium. It becomes your ultimate differentiator, and it's built on things AI can't fake: deep trust, genuine authenticity, and real accountability. And this brilliantly illustrates our biggest hurdle. Our current corporate structures are completely failing to prepare us for that premium future. The smartest companies out there systematically protect time for their people to learn. But look at this. Right now, freelancers manage to spend an average of 4 hours a week actively upskilling. Traditional full-time employees? They average 0 hours. 0. Our static organizations are literally starving human potential of the time it desperately needs to grow. Ultimately, this whole transition, it is not a tragic story about losing jobs. It is an incredibly exciting story about human differentiation. AI is going to keep climbing, we can't stop that. But how fast we climb alongside it, that is 100% up to us. So we've got to stop asking that fearful question about whether there will still be jobs and start asking a much more powerful question. What do we actually want humans to be best at? I want to leave you with this absolute mic drop thought from Vinciane Beauchene. In the age of AI, being a human isn't a fallback. It's a practice. We can't just rely on our humanity as some default setting anymore. We have to actively cultivate it, make it exceptional. So ask yourself, what do you want your humans to be best at? And how are you going to practice being human today? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. Keep learning, and we'll catch you next time.